Blackroot National Forest. Deep in Oregon, yeah. Oh, it's ancient, you know? Truly ancient. Those Douglas firs? Giants, honestly. Like pillars holding up a sky that's almost always wrapped in mist. You take a breath here, pine, sharp and clean, damp earth rich and deep, and secrets. Yeah, secrets. Tangled in roots older than anyone remembers. Ranger Jenny Kovacs. Oh, she knew this place. Knew it like the feel of her own worn boots, you know? 10 years. Yeah, 10 years this forest was her sanctuary. Her whole world, really, her symphony. The creak of a branch settling. That familiar sound, the frantic scratch of a squirrel panicking up rough bark, the distant, kind of mournful cry of a hawk riding the wind high up. These were her notes. She understood the rhythms, felt the moods, knew the hidden, shadowed places where the light barely touched. Or she thought she did. But then, then the silence. The silence started speaking back. Yeah, it began, subtly, almost dismissible, you know? Small things. Hikers coming off the trails, looking pale, shaken, reporting sensations. That prickling on the back of the neck, like static electricity crackling under your skin. But no storm clouds anywhere. That feeling deep in your gut of being watched. Not by a deer or a curious raccoon. No, but by something in the deeper shadows. Something that didn't rustle, didn't move, just observed, cold, calculating. Then came the whispers. Not voices, not really human voices, anyway. More like interference. Like tuning an old car radio late at night. Driving through hills, just off station enough to catch fragments of static that almost sounded like words. Garbled, meaningless mostly, but utterly chilling. Old man Henderson. He'd lived right on the forest edge since, seemed like forever. A fixture, you know? He swore on his late wife Alara's grave. He heard her, clear as a bell, calling his name. One twilight. Deep in the section they called Whispering Pines. Alara, clear as day, he'd mutter later, his eyes wide with a raw terror Jenny had never seen in the tough old coop before. He stumbled back to his cabin, white as a sheet, shaking like a leaf caught in a gale. Refused to set foot in his beloved woods ever again. Jenny, she tried to rationalize it. Loneliness gnawing at him? Sure, possible. Early dementia? Well, maybe. But then the Petersons vanished. Yeah, just gone. The Petersons. Experienced backpackers, no doubt about it. Prepared for anything, or so you think. Their planned 3-day loop through the remote Silver Falls Basin? Routine stuff for them. Textbook. When they didn't check in at the expected time. Jenny led the search party herself. Heart pounding a bit, you know? And what they found, it was eerie. Their campsite pristine. Absolutely untouched. Tents pitched neat and tight. Gear stowed perfectly inside. A pot of cold stew, just sitting there by the cold, gray ashes of fire that had died out naturally days before. No signs of a struggle. Not a snapped twig out of place. No note scribbled in haste. Just gone. Poof, like they stepped out for a quick look around, and vanished into thin air. The only thing truly wrong. Jenny scribbled in her damp field notebook. Her fingers chilled despite her gloves, was the silence. That deep, unnatural, suffocating hush pressing in from all sides, muting even the ever-present rush of nearby Silver Creek. It was heavy, oppressive, and beneath it, faint, so faint she almost thought she imagined a low, resonant hum, vibrating deep in her molars, unsettling. Yeah, back at the ranger station. The reports started stacking up then, like dark storm clouds gathering on the horizon. Missing pets first. Dogs, mostly. Good dogs. Loyal companions. Not wanderers. Dogs had bolted from their owners' sides with terrified, high-pitched whimpers, vanishing into thick undergrowth without a backward glance. Gone. Then livestock, farms on the forest fringe. A prize-winning ram. Found stone dead in its pasture one morning. Not a mark on it. No blood. Nothing. Just dead. Eyes wide open, staring blankly with pure, frozen terror. Chickens, an entire coop full, found dead silent overnight. No signs of forced entry on the coop. No feathers scattered. Just silent, lifeless bundles. Sheriff Dan Miller. A man built like a grizzly bear, pragmatic to his core, publicly blamed coyotes. A rogue cougar. Maybe. Standard procedure. But Jenny, she saw it. The flicker of unease deep in his eyes. The tightness around his mouth. He'd patrolled these woods almost as long as she had. He felt the change, too. The forest felt wrong. Charged. Electric. Like the heavy, crackling air moments before a lightning strike. But the strike never came. The tension just built and built. The final straw. Yeah, it was the thermal camera. Jenny, increasingly desperate for something tangible. Anything beyond this creeping, formless dread, managed to borrow a top-of-the-line flurry unit from County Search and Rescue. She spent days, long, exhausting days, methodically scanning the known hotspots. The eerily silent Peterson campsite, the stand of whispering pines where Henderson heard his wife, the steep ravine where the ram was found. Mostly cold greens and blues of undisturbed vegetation, the occasional warm orange blob of a deer or elk moving peacefully. Routine. Normal. Until one late afternoon near the stark, black obsidian cliffs everyone locally called Devil's Teeth. Yeah, that place always gave folks the creeps. Sunset was painting long, distorted shadows across the rock face. Jenny was panning the fleur slowly, methodically. The screen flickered. Just for a second. Her breath hitched. There, deep within a narrow fissure, invisible to the naked eye from her position, a patch of the cliff glowed. Not just warm, but intense, almost blinding white heat on the display. But it wasn't the uniform signature of sun-warmed rock cooling in the evening air. No, it pulsed, irregularly. Thump, 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 like a heartbeat, but made of pure, fierce light. And, oh God, it moved. Not much, just a subtle shift, a ripple flowing across the thermal spectrum. Jenny froze, absolutely still, her own breath caught hard in her throat, cold fear prickling her scalp. She zoomed in, fingers trembling slightly on the controls. The shape? It was indistinct, blurred by the rock and distance, but elongated, vaguely humanoid in outline, but deeply, fundamentally wrong. The joints, they seemed to bend at impossible angles. The limbs, too long, too slender, unnaturally so, and radiating outwards from its core, thin, snaking tendrils of that intense heat probed the cooler surrounding rock, like ghostly, searching fingers. Horrifying. Before she could react, before the icy wave of horror blooming in her chest could fully crest, the shape on the screen, oh God, it turned. Or rather, the heat signature shifted, resolved itself, forming what could only be interpreted as a distinct head, tilting slowly, deliberately, towards her position, hundreds of feet away, hidden by dense foliage. A cold wave, utterly disconnected from the cool forest air, washed over Jenny, leaving her skin clammy. It knew she was watching it. Right then, the flurry unit emitted a sudden, sharp, ear-piercing burst of static, and died, completely dead, stone dead, not a low battery flicker. Fried, instantly. Jenny didn't hesitate, didn't think. Pure, primal instinct screamed run. She turned, abandoning her pack, her expensive borrowed gear, everything. The forest floor blurred beneath her boots. Her sanctuary, her beloved woods, now felt like the jaws of traps snapping shut around her. And the whispers, they seemed louder now, not just in her ears, but vibrating deep in her bones. A chaotic terrifying chorus of insectal chitters and distorted, sighing moans that echoed the frantic, hammering rhythm of her own terrified heartbeat. Ha! Run. Just run. Jenny burst into Sheriff Miller's cluttered office maybe an hour later, pale as death, shaking uncontrollably, babbling about heat ghosts and impossible shapes moving inside solid rock. Dan Miller, taking one look at the usually rock-solid, unflappable Ranger reduced to the state of raw terror. Oh, he didn't dismiss her. Not for a second. The color drained from his own face. He picked up the phone immediately. Called in a big favor. Enter Dr. Eris Thorne. Arrived within 12 hours flat. Lean, wiry, and tense. An astrophysicist, apparently. Consultant for a very quiet, very shadowy wing of the Department of Homeland Security. People whispered the name AEGIS, but nobody really knew. Thorne had sharp, piercing gray eyes that seemed to miss nothing, scanning a room, a person, a situation in seconds. His demeanor? Cool as liquid nitrogen. Unnervingly calm. He listened to Jenny's disjointed, adrenaline-fueled account without interruption, examined the dead Flurry unit with detached curiosity, studied the growing, chilling pile of missing persons and animal disturbance reports, all with that same unsettling calm. Calculating. Finally, he spoke. Flat. Certain. It's not terrestrial, he stated, standing over Jenny's heavily marked topographic map spread on Miller's desk. He pointed a long, precise finger directly at the symbol marking Devil's Teeth. And it's not hiding anymore. Not really. It's probing, actively learning. Those whispers people report. He glanced at Jenny, his gaze analytical. Bioacoustic resonance. It's sampling our sonic environment, recording frequencies, trying to understand communication patterns, maybe even learning to mimic them. The animal reactions? Pure, primal fear, triggered by predators so far outside their evolutionary understanding it bypasses fight or flight. It just triggers absolute panic. The disappearances. He paused, letting the word hang heavy in the suddenly too small room. His cool gray eyes locked onto Jenny's again. Resources, or specimens, biological data. Specimens. The word hit Jenny like a physical blow. Oh God. Specimens. The Petersons, smiling in their photo on the missing persons flyer. And young Timmy Henderson. Oh, Timmy. Just a kid. Missing since yesterday afternoon after chasing his vanished terrier, Buster, into the woods behind his grandpa's place. Just a kid. Her stomach churned. What the hell do we do? Sheriff Miller asked, his voice rough, gravelly with a dread he could no longer mask. What could they do? Thorne didn't answer immediately. He turned and opened a sleek, reinforced black case he'd brought in. Inside, nestled in custom foam, unfamiliar high-tech equipment. A device that looked like a bulky radar gun crossed with a high-resolution camera lens. Several small, metallic disc-shaped sensors. A ruggedized tablet already glowing with complex, scrolling waveforms. Alien tech to fight. Whatever this was. We contain the area as best we can, Thorne stated, his voice all business now. We observe. We gather data. We learn everything we possibly can before it decides to expand its hunting ground beyond the immediate vicinity of these woods. He handed Jenny and Miller each a rugged, military-grade earpiece. Put these in. They filter out the specific resonance frequencies it emits. It might dampen the whispers, reduce the disorientation. Not a guarantee, but it should help. He then picked up several of the disc sensors. These are multi-spectrum monitors. Seismic, electromagnetic field fluctuations, localized thermal spikes. We plant them in a perimeter around Devil's Teeth. Strategic locations. Finally, he hefted the radar camera device. It hummed faintly to life. This is tuned specifically to detect its unique energy signature. Modified neutrino detection array. If it moves even an inch, we'll know instantly. Operation Silent Watch. Sounded good. Felt terrifying. It began that night. Deep near total darkness. Thick like velvet. Guided only by the eerie green glow of their night vision goggles, Jenny, Miller, and Thorne moved like phantoms through the oppressive stillness towards the looming obsidian bulk of Devil's Teeth. The forest. Oh, it was unnervingly silent. No hoot of an owl. No chirp of a cricket. Nothing. Just that pervasive, bone-deep hum vibrating up through the soles of their boots, and the skittering, whispering sounds that seemed to coil around them like spectral smoke, insidious even to the filtered earpieces. Every shadow felt alive, menacing. Every rustle of a leaf underfoot sounded deliberate, like a signal. Planting the sensors was an exercise in sheer, controlled terror. Jenny's hands trembled visibly as she crouched to place a disc at the gnarled base of a towering fir, its roots gripping the very edge of the cliff near the fissure. She felt hideously exposed. Watched. The air tasted sharp, metallic, electrically charged. Crack. Oh. A sudden, sharp snap. A twig. Close. Too close. Right behind that thicket of salal. Ha! They froze instantly. 3 statues in the green gloom. Miller, slowly, agonizingly slowly, swung his rifle-mounted light towards the sound. The powerful beam cut a stark white swath through the inky darkness, illuminating gnarled roots, slick black rock, dripping ferns. Nothing moved, just shifting shadows. Then, Thorne's scanner emitted a soft, urgent ping-ping-ping. A bright crimson light blinked rapidly on its side. Thorne looked down at the tablet screen clutched in his other hand, his face unreadable behind the goggles. Movement, he hissed, voice tight. Fast. Very fast. Heading. His gloved finger traced a path on the glowing screen. Away from us, northwest, toward the deep ravine. The old Henderson place. Oh no. Old man Henderson's ramshackle cabin. Isolated. Sitting alone on the forest's eastern fringe. Right near the ravine where his prize ram had been found dead, eyes wide with terror, and where young Timmy had vanished just yesterday. Fear for the missing boy warred violently with his shear, paralyzing terror of the thing they were tracking. We have to check, Miller growled, already moving, his voice thick with conflict. His rifle light beam bounced erratically as he pushed urgently through the dense undergrowth, branches whipping back. Thorne followed without hesitation, his scanner pinging faster, more insistently. Jenny brought up the rear, her heart hammering a frantic tattoo against her ribs, every nerve ending, every instinct screaming that this was a terrible, terrible mistake. Ha! Mistake. Please, no. They burst into the small, moonlit clearing surrounding Henderson's cabin. Oh, the sight stopped them cold. The front door, hung drunkenly open, splintered around the lock as if struck by a battering ram. Tremendous force. Inside, visible even from the doorway, chaos, overturned furniture, shattered crockery littering the rough wooden floor. And there, slumped against a far wall like a broken doll, was old man Henderson himself, alive but barely. His chest rose and fell in shallow, ragged gasps. His eyes were wide open, horrifyingly unfocused, staring blankly at the ceiling, seeing something else entirely. His lips moved silently, forming soundless words. And around his neck, oh God, faint, luminous marks pulsed with a sickly, alien green light, like glowing fingerprints burned into his skin. Bioluminescent. Wrong. Thorne was instantly beside him, kneeling, pulling a small, pen-like scanner from his vest. He passed it over Henderson's head and neck. The device emitted a series of low, unhappy chirps. Severe neural disruption, Thorne murmured, his voice devoid of its usual coolness, edged with something colder. Massive shock. Whatever it communicated, however it touched him, it shattered his mind. He looked up at Jenny and Miller, his face grim in the dim light filtering through the broken door. It's learning fast. Its mimicry, its ability to interface, accelerating exponentially. Ha! Learning. From Henderson? Oh, God! Suddenly, Thorne's primary scanner shrieked. A continuous, ear-splitting electronic alarm that shattered the cabin's heavy silence. The tablet screen strapped to his arm flared a violent, pulsing crimson. A single, large energy signature filled the display, throbbing like an infected wound. It's back! Thorne yelled, surging to his feet, his cool finally cracking. Close. Very close. Outside. Now. Now. Miller reacted instantly, adrenaline surging. He swung towards a shattered doorway, rifle snapping up to his shoulder, the powerful light beam spearing out into the moonlit clearing. Jenny fumbled for her service pistol, her hands slick with sweat, heart pounding in her throat. Thorne grabbed his main scanner, its lens glowing an angry, sullen red, pointing it toward the doorway like a weapon. They moved as one, a fragile, terrified line of defense, edging toward the opening and the unknown horror beyond. Ha! Breathe. Just breathe. Nothing. The clearing, empty, utterly, completely empty. Moonlight painted the trampled grass a cold, dead silver. The oppressive silence rushed back in, heavier, thicker than before. The whispers were gone. The deep hum was gone, replaced by an absolute, suffocating void of sound. A vacuum. It was profoundly more terrifying than any noise could ever be. Where? Miller started, his voice a dry, hoarse rasp, the beam of his light sweeping erratically across the empty clearing. Ha! Gone? Tricked? A sound from inside the cabin, behind them. Small, choked, a sob, not Henderson's ragged breathing. This came from the deep shadowed corner behind the overturned kitchen table. A small, trembling figure slowly, hesitantly emerged into the dim light filtering through the doorway. Timmy Henderson, filthy, covered in dirt and pine needles, wide eyes huge and dark with shock, but physically looked unharmed. He stumbled forward, tears cutting clean tracks through the grime on his cheeks, making straight for his grandfather slumped against the wall. Oh, thank God. Timmy. Oh, thank God, son. Miller breathed, lowering his rifle slightly, a massive wave of relief washing over his face. He took an involuntary step towards the boy. Jenny felt the same surge of desperate hope. They'd found him. Against all impossible odds, they'd found Timmy alive. Ha! Safe. Thorne scanner emitted a single low, questioning blip. He hadn't moved. He stood rigid, his intense gray eyes locked not on the clearing, but on Timmy. His scanner remained pointed, still glowing that faint, ominous, unwavering red. Jenny, caught between relief and a sudden, chilling doubt, followed Thorne's gaze. Timmy reached his grandfather's side, his small, grimy hand stretched out, reaching to gently touch the old man's stubbled, slack cheek. In the pale moonlight slanting through the doorway, Jenny saw it, a subtle shimmer, a distortion in the air, like heat haze rising off asphalt on a scorching day, rippling around the boy's outstretched fingers. And his eyes, oh, his eyes, when they flicked up for a split second towards Miller approaching, there was no childlike relief, no fear, no tears, only a cold, detached, unnervingly calculating curiosity, utterly, profoundly, alien. Oh, no. No. Dan, stop. Do not move. Thorne's command was a whip crack, sharp and absolute, shattering the fragile moment. Miller jerked to a halt, bewildered, half turning towards Thorne. What? But it's Timmy? Timmy's head turned then, smooth, precise, mechanically fluid, an unervingly adult movement utterly wrong for a frightened child. His lips parted slowly. Ha! What came out? The voice wasn't Timmy's. It was a horrifying, layered amalgamation, fragments of old man Henderson's familiar rasp, Mrs. Peterson's gentle, melodic lilt, the sharp, panicked bark of Max, the German shepherd Jenny had helped search for just days ago, and beneath it all, woven through like a vile thread, that insectal, chittering resonance. It spoke one word, perfectly enunciated, devoid of any human emotion, yet echoing with a terrifying, possessive finality that froze the blood. Mine. Thorne's scanner screamed into full, deafening, panic-stricken alarm. Simultaneously, the single bare bulb hanging from the cabin ceiling exploded in a shower of white-hot sparks and glass shards, plunging the room into near-total darkness. In that sudden, blinding blackness, illuminated only by the strobing crimson glare of Thorne's scanner and the dying embers of the shattered bulb, Timmy's face contorted, features stretching, flowing like molten wax into something impossibly angular, sharp, and faintly luminous. A high-pitched, shrieking, electronic whine, louder than anything before, filled the tiny cabin, vibrating the walls, the floor, their very bones, building, to an ear-splitting, mind-shattering crescendo. Then silence, absolute, profound, smothering. Silence. Oh, God! The silence after that shriek. It was worse. Thicker than the blackness. Smothering. Jenny stood frozen. Pistol a cold, useless weight in her hand. Her ears rang. A high-pitched whine left over from the sonic assault. Ha! The only light. The dying crimson pulse from Thorne's scanner, casting frantic, bloody shadows on the cabin walls, and the faint, sickly green glow still pulsing around old man Henderson's neck. Oh, and Timmy, or what wore Timmy. In that strobing red gloom, the boy's form seemed unstable, flickering, like a bad signal. The angular, luminous distortion where his face should be, it shifted, writhed. A low, guttural sound, not human, not mechanical, more like stone grinding deep underground, emanated from it. Ha! Dan! Jenny whispered, voice raw. The boy, it's not. I know, Miller choked out. He hadn't lowered his rifle completely. His knuckles were white on the stock. The beam of his light, miraculously still working, was trained shakily on the distorted shape near Henderson. Timmy? Son? Can you hear me? Oh! The hope in his voice, desperate, fragile. It tore at Jenny. The thing that wasn't Timmy tilted its shimmering head, smooth, precise. The grinding sound intensified, vibrating the floorboards beneath their feet. Then fragments coalesced. The angular sharpness softened, flowed. The sickly green light from Henderson's neck seemed to pulse stronger, feeding into it. Within seconds, it was just Timmy again. Filthy, tear-streaked, wide, scared eyes blinking up at Miller. A perfect imitation. Oh, too perfect now. Ha! Sheriff? Timmy's voice trembled. Small, frightened. Sheriff Miller? It hurt Grandpa. A small hand pointed weakly at Henderson's slumped form. The shiny thing in the dark, it hurt him bad. Oh! The anguish in that small voice. It was a masterful lie. Thorne hadn't moved. His scanner still screamed its silent alarm on the tablet screen, bathing his face in crimson. His eyes, sharp as flint, never left the boy. Don't engage, he hissed, low and urgent. It's assimilating the emotional context, learning empathy, or the mimicry of it. Every interaction is data. Data, specimens, the Petersons, Henderson, now Timmy's stolen face and voice. Jenny felt a surge of cold rage cut through the fear. Ha! It has my grandson. Miller snarled, taking another half-step forward, rifle wavering. We got to get him out. The entity is occupying the biological host, Thorne stated, his voice terrifyingly clinical. Extraction attempts will likely trigger defensive protocols, or kill the host instantly. Kill Timmy. The words hung in the suffocating dark. Oh, the thing wearing Timmy sniffled. I'm scared, Sheriff. It's cold. Can I come with you? Away from the dark. It took a small, hesitant step towards Miller. Just one. Innocent. Pleading. Ha! Miller's resolve visibly crumbled. His rifle barrel dipped lower. Okay, son. Okay. Just stay still. We're gonna... Crack. Oh. Not a gunshot. A sound like shattering ice. From Thorne's direction. Jenny flinched. Thorne had pulled a small, cylindrical device from his vest. Not his scanner. He slammed it hard onto the wooden floorboards. A blinding, actinic blue-white light exploded from it, filling the cabin for a single, searing second. Not light like a flare, light like liquid electricity. It didn't illuminate. It scoured. Shadows vanished. Dust motes burned away. Jenny saw the thing wearing Timmy. Really saw it. For a fraction of a heartbeat, the illusion ripped away. Oh, God! Beneath the perfect mimicry of skin and tears was a core of seething, iridescent darkness, shot through with veins of that same sickly green light. Tendrils, faintly luminous, seemed to anchor it deep into the boy's spine, his skull. A parasite, a puppet master, made of nightmare energy. Ha! And it recoiled. A shriek, not through air but through Jenny's very bones. Pure alien agony, as the blue light washed over it. The Timmy shape flickered violently, the edges blurring, the terrified expression twisting into a rictus of otherworldly rage. Then the light died, as suddenly as it came. The cabin plunged back into near darkness. The afterimage of that searing blue burned onto Jenny's retinas. The Timmy thing stumbled back, clutching its head, emitting a low, pained whine that sounded disturbingly like a wounded animal. Oh! Human. Too human. A trick? Miller gasped, frozen in confusion and horror. What did you do? Pulsed electromagnetic field coupled with localized temporal stutter, Thorne said, already moving, grabbing his main scanner. The device he dropped was now a smoldering husk. Disrupts its cohesion. Hurts it. Bought us seconds. Now move. Ha! He didn't wait. He bolted for the shattered doorway. Jenny didn't need telling twice. The image of the thing inside Timmy, the tendrils, it burned hotter than Thorne's light. She grabbed Miller's arm. Hard. Dan, come on. It's not him. Not anymore. Miller looked from her to the whimpering shape near Henderson, his face a mask of torment. Then the thing wearing Timmy looked up. Its eyes in the gloom reflected the faint green light like a cat's. No tears now. Only cold, ancient malice. Miller shuddered. God forgive me, he choked, then turned and ran, following Jenny and Thorne out into the moonlit clearing. Oh, the guilt! It radiated off him like heat. Outside, the void of sound was gone, replaced by pressure, an immense, silent pressure pushing down from the starless sky above the clearing. The air crackled with static, lifting the hairs on Jenny's arms. Thorne's scanner was a frantic crimson beacon in his hand. It's stabilizing fast, energy signature spiking. It's not contained by the cabin. He glanced at his tablet. The waveform's jagged mountains. It's focusing, projecting something. Run. Head for the tree line. Due east. Now. Ha! Due east? Towards Devil's Teeth? Jenny's mind screamed wrong way. But Thorne was already sprinting, not away from the woods, but deeper into them, towards the obsidian cliffs. Miller followed, driven by pure survival instinct. Jenny hesitated for only a heartbeat, the image of those green tendrils flashing in her mind, then plunged after them, her boots pounding the damp earth. Behind them, from the cabin doorway, a sound erupted, not a shriek this time, a chittering, loud, metallic, inhumanly fast, like a million locusts made of broken glass. Oh! And beneath it, the whispers, no longer fragments, clearer, sharper, layered voices Jenny recognized with dawning horror. Old man Henderson's rasp muttering about Alara, Sarah Peterson's gentle voice humming a lullaby, Timmy Henderson's own childish laugh, twisted into something mocking and cruel, and woven through the guttural grinding. Ha! It was broadcasting, sending the stolen voices out into the night. A lure? A weapon? The sound didn't just follow them. It seemed to bend around them, coming from the trees ahead, from the rocks beside the path. Disorienting. Terrifying. Jenny clamped her hands over her filtered earpieces, but the sound vibrated through her skull. Thorne led them on a brutal, zigzagging path through dense undergrowth, away from established trails. Branches whipped at their faces. Roots threatened to trip them. He constantly checked his scanner, cursing under his breath. Jamming us, localized EM distortions, trying to herd us. Ha! Herd them where? Toward the teeth? The chittering grew louder, closer, seeming to come from everywhere at once. Jenny risked a glance back. Oh! Nothing obvious pursued them, just shifting moonlight and deep, impenetrable shadows. But the feeling of being hunted, cornered, It was overwhelming. Ha! Suddenly, Thorne skidded to a halt beside a massive, lightning-blasted stump. Miller crashed into him, Jenny barely stopping in time. What? Why stop? Miller gasped, scanning the darkness behind them, rifle raised. The chittering was a physical wall of sound now, pressing in. Oh! Need a moment, Thorne rasped, pulling another disc from his case, different from the sensors. Smaller, thicker. He slapped it onto the rotten wood of the stump. Counter-frequency pulse. Should disrupt the acoustic field. Briefly, brace yourselves. He tapped his tablet. The disc emitted a single, deep THOM sound Jenny felt in her chest, not her ears. Like a giant drum struck underwater. Ha! Silence. Bless, shocking silence. The chittering, the whispers, cut off instantly. The oppressive pressure lessened. Just for a moment, the forest sounds rushed back in, the wind in the pines, the distant creek. Shockingly loud and normal. Oh! The relief was almost painful. Did it work? Jenny panted, leaning against a tree, her legs trembling. Temporarily, Thorne said, already moving again, heading not east now, but sharply north, away from the direction of teeth. Bought us minutes, maybe less. Its adaptive rate is concerning. That pulse won't work twice. We need higher ground, a defensible position. There's a fire watchtower, half a mile north-northeast. Jenny remembered it. An old, rickety metal structure on a ridge overlooking Silver Creek Gorge. Isolated, exposed, but high. They ran. Harder now. Fueled by the temporary respite and the dread of what followed. The silence held, but the feeling of being watched returned, more intense than ever. Jenny felt unseen eyes tracking their every stumble, every gasping breath. The forest itself felt hostile, complicit. Oh! They reached the base of the ridge. The tower loomed above, a skeletal silhouette against the slightly lighter sky. The climb up the metal stairs was agony, each clanging step echoing like a dinner bell in the unnatural quiet. Finally, they spilled onto the small platform at the top, maybe 10 feet square. Rusty railings. A panoramic, terrifying view of the moonlit forest stretching out like a dark sea below. Devil's Teeth was a jagged black scar to the southeast. Thorne immediately started deploying gear from his case, setting up the scanner on a tripod, plugging it into the tablet. Miller took a position at one corner, rifle trained on the stairs they just climbed, breathing hard. Jenny scanned the tree line below, her pistol useless at this range, but giving her something to hold on to. Oh! The silence up here was even deeper. The wind moaned through the tower struts. Talk to me, Thorne, Miller growled. What's the plan? How do we kill that thing? How do we get Timmy back? The anguish was back, raw in his voice. Thorne didn't look up from his tablet. Killing it is currently beyond our capabilities. Our primary objective is containment and intelligence gathering, understanding its nature, its weaknesses. The host. He paused, his fingers flying over the screen. Biological extraction carries extreme risk. Its integration appears profound. The neural tendrils observed suggest a deep symbiotic, or more likely, parasitic fusion. Parasitic. Tendrils in the spine. Jenny shuddered. So we just leave him? Miller's voice cracked. Leave Timmy to that thing? The entity is prioritizing the host. Thorne said, still clinical. It requires the biological framework. For now, that gives us leverage. It won't want the host destroyed. We use that. Use Timmy as a bargaining chip? The thought made Jenny sick. Oh! Suddenly, Thorne stiffened. Incoming. He pointed the scanner down toward the base of the tower. The tablet screen flared crimson. A single massive signature. Not moving. Just waiting at the foot of the stairs. Jenny strained her eyes. Was that a shape down there? Smaller than she expected? Human-sized? Oh! Timmy-sized? Her breath caught. Then a voice floated up. Clear. Unmistakable. Timmy Henderson's voice. But calm. Too calm, devoid of the earlier fear or the alien malice. Just empty. Ranger Jenny? Sheriff Miller? Dr. Thorne? It paused. You left Grandpa. You left me. It's dark down here. And cold. Why did you run? Oh, God, the guilt trip. Using the child's voice. Ha! Miller made a strangled sound. Timmy, son. Don't. Thorne snapped, his eyes still on the scanner readouts. It's probing, trying to elicit an emotional response, to gather more data, or lure us down. Lure us down, into the dark, where it waited. The voice came again. Dr. Thorne, your light hurt. It made the dark angry. The dark doesn't like being hurt. A pause. Then, with chilling simplicity, come down. We need to talk. About the shiny pieces. Ha! Shiny pieces? What did that mean? Thorne's head jerked up, his cool finally cracking. Alarm flashed in his eyes. Shiny pieces? What shiny pieces? He demanded, his voice sharp. A low chuckle echoed up, distorted. Not Timmy's voice anymore. Deeper, resonant, filled with that grinding stone sound. You know, the pieces that fell, before the long dark, before the sleep in the cold stone. We need them to go home, to wake the others. Oh, others? The implication slammed into Jenny. This wasn't just one. Ha! Thorne looked pale. Fell? You mean debris? Your craft. Shiny pieces, the voice insisted, reverting to Timmy's tone, simple, childlike. You have some. We feel them. The cold metal, the humming stone. Give them, and we leave. Give them, and you can have the small meat back. Small meat. Timmy, a bargaining chip, offered so casually, so horrifically. Miller let out a low moan. Jenny felt her stomach heave. Ha! Thorne was frantically typing on his tablet, pulling up files. Aegis inventory, recovered anomalous materials, Pacific Northwest, Blackroot vicinity. Oh, God. He looked up, his face ashen. They have fragments. Classified. Stored at the county evidence lockup. Millerton, 15 miles south. Ah, shiny pieces. Fragments of the thing's ship, its power source. And it knew they were there. It could feel them. The voice from below shifted again, layered, echoing with multiple stolen tones. Henderson, Mrs. Peterson, the grinding core. You understand now. Good. Bring the shiny pieces to the place of the tall teeth. Before the sun eats the night, bring them, or the small meat stops working, and the long dark comes for the rest. Oh, an ultimatum, devil's teeth, by dawn, or Timmy dies, and the long dark? Wake the others? Ha! The threat hung in the air, colder than the night wind. Silence descended again. The crimson signature on Thorne's scanner faded, then vanished. The entity was gone, leaving only the echo of its terrible ultimatum and the suffocating dread. Miller sank to his knees on the cold metal grating, his rifle clattering beside him, his face buried in his hands. Silent sobs shook his broad shoulders. Oh! Jenny leaned against the railing, the world tilting. Dawn, devil's teeth, fragments of an alien ship, Timmy's life, and the threat of waking more. Ha! Thorne stared out at the dark forest, towards a jagged silhouette of devil's teeth. His usual cool was replaced by a grim, focused intensity. Millerton, he stated flatly, we need those fragments. They're the only leverage we have. The only hope for boy. Leverage. Hope. The words fell hollow. Jenny looked at Miller, broken. At Thorne, calculating. At the dark woods, hiding in ancient terror, wearing a child's face. Oh! What choice did they have? None. Absolutely none. Ha! All right, Jenny said, her voice surprisingly steady despite the tremor in her hands. How do we get into a locked evidence facility and steal classified alien artifacts before dawn? The absurdity of it almost made her laugh. Almost. Thorne turned, a ghost of his usual detached expression returning. Aegis has protocols. Overrides. I can get us in. Getting out and getting to the teeth before dawn with the fragments that will require speed and significant risk. Risk. Understatement of the century. He looked at Miller. Sheriff, you know these roads. Every shortcut, every back route. We need to be at Millerton in under 90 minutes. Can you do it? Ha! Miller lifted his head. His eyes were red-rim hollow, but a desperate fire burned there now. For Timmy, he wiped his face roughly with his sleeve. For Timmy, I'll get us there in 60, or die trying. He stood up, grabbing his rifle with renewed, grim purpose. Let's move. The descent from the tower was tense, silent. Every shadow seemed to hold the promise of chittering horror. The drive back to Miller's parked SUV near the ranger station was a blur of adrenaline and watchful terror. Oh! Thorne spent the journey on a secure satellite phone, his voice low, issuing commands, invoking codes Jenny didn't understand. Aegis Alpha clearance. Initiate project silo retrieval. Millerton evidence locker. Immediate sanitization protocol. Sanitization? Sounded ominous. Miller drove like a man possessed. The SUV roared down twisting Forest Service roads, tires spitting gravel, headlights cutting sways through the oppressive darkness. Jenny clung to the door handle, her knuckles white, scanning the trees flying past, half expecting to see luminous eyes or a small, waiting figure. Oh, nothing, just the endless, watchful dark. They hit the county highway. Miller pushed the SUV past its limits. 90 minutes? He made Millerton in 53 brutal, nerve-shredding minutes. The Millerton Sheriff's Department was a low, brick building, quiet in the pre-dawn gloom. Lights off except for the reception area. Thorne strode in like he owned the place, flashing a badge that made the lone, sleepy deputy on desk duty snap to attention, pale and wide-eyed. Aegis. Critical national security. Evidence locker. Now. No questions. Authority radiated from him. The deputy fumbled with keys, leading them down a sterile corridor to a heavy metal door marked Evidence. Authorized personnel only. Inside, rows of shelving. Thorne went straight to a secured cabinet at the back, requiring a complex code and a retinal scan from the deputy. The door hissed open. Inside, on a padded tray, lay the shiny pieces. Jenny expected, well, she didn't know, glowing rocks? Weird metal? Oh, what she saw was almost disappointingly mundane. 3 objects, a jagged fist-sized piece of dull, pitted metal that looked like slag, a smooth, obsidian black stone, vaguely egg-shaped, that seemed to absorb the light around it, and a small crystalline shard, no bigger than a thumb, that pulsed with a faint, internal blue light. The humming stone, the cold metal, the shiny piece. Thorne carefully placed him into a heavy, lead-lined case he produced from his pack. The deputy watched, terrified, saying nothing. Sanitization protocol is active, Thorne told the deputy as they left. No record of this visit. No record of these items. Ever. Understood. The deputy just nodded mutely. Outside, the first faint streaks of gray were lightening the eastern sky. Dawn was coming. Fast. Oh! Devil's teeth waited. And the thing wearing Timmy. Back in the SUV. Thorne placed a heavy case on his lap. The entity wasn't lying. These resonate with its core energy signature, especially the crystalline shard. It's a piece of its power source, I believe, or its navigation matrix. This is what it needs. He looked out at the lightening sky. We have perhaps 40 minutes until full sunrise. We need to be at the teeth before then. Miller gunned the engine. Hold on to your hats. The drive back towards Blackroot was even more frantic. The rising sun painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, beautiful and utterly mocking. Oh! Jenny watched the forest wake up. Birds singing, mist rising from meadows, a cruel parody of normalcy. Her hand rested on her pistol. The case on Thorne's lap seemed to hum faintly against her leg. Or was it her imagination? They abandoned the SUV at the trailhead closest to Devil's Teeth, the one Jenny knew led to the thickest, most difficult terrain, but offered the most cover. They ran, again, through the waking forest. The case was heavy. Thorne carried it. Miller led, rifle ready, his eyes constantly scanning. Jenny brought up the rear, her senses screaming. Oh! That feeling of being watched was back. Intensified. The entity knew they were coming, with its shiny pieces. Ha! They pushed through a final wall of dripping salal and ferns, and emerged into clearing at the base of Devil's Teeth. The obsidian cliffs towered above them, black and forbidding in the dawn light. And there, standing alone in the center of the clearing, small and still in the gray pre-dawn light, was Timmy Henderson. Oh! He looked unharmed, just standing there, waiting, staring at them with empty eyes. Ha! Miller took a step forward, anguish warring with caution. Timmy, son. The boy didn't respond. He just stared. Then, slowly, he raised one small hand and pointed upwards toward a specific fissure high on the cliff face. The same fissure Jenny had seen the heat signature in. Thorne's scanner pinged softly. Crimson. The entity wasn't in Timmy anymore. It was up there, watching, waiting, using the boy as a pointer, a mouthpiece. A voice echoed down, not from Timmy, but seeming to emanate from the rock itself. Layered, grinding, commanding. Place the box. There. A tendril of that sickly green light snaked out from the fissure, pointing to a flat rock directly below it. Open it. Show the shiny pieces. Then step back, far back. The small meat will walk to you. Then we leave. Ha! Simple. Direct. Too easy? Jenny's instincts screamed trap. Thorne looked grim. Miller was trembling, desperate to believe. Do it, Miller whispered hoarsely. Just get him back. Oh! Thorne hesitated, then nodded curtly. He walked slowly toward the flat rock, the heavy case in his hands. Jenny and Miller followed, keeping distance. Thorne placed the case down, crouched. His fingers worked the latches. Click, click. The lid opened. Inside, nestled in foam, lay the three artifacts. The dull metal, the black stone, the faintly pulsing blue crystal. Ha! Thorne stood up, took several deliberate steps back, joining Jenny and Miller. Silence. The fissure above pulsed with a stronger green light. Timmy remained still, a statue. Then movement. Not from Timmy. From the case. The small blue crystalline shard. Its faint pulse quickened, grew brighter. Brighter still. A low hum filled the clearing, resonating in Jenny's teeth. Oh! The obsidian black stone began to vibrate, emitting a subsonic thrum that made the ground tremble faintly. The dull metal fragment started to glow, a deep, angry red heat radiating from within. Ha! What's happening? Miller breathed, eyes wide with terror, fixed on Timmy, not the case. Thorne stared at the artifacts, his face pale. Interaction, proximity to the entity's core energy, it's activating them. Activating? That wasn't part of the deal. The voice boomed from the cliff, filled with a terrible, grinding triumph. Yes, the key awakens. The lock responds. The heart burns. Now we rise. Oh, God! The green light from the fissure exploded outward, blindingly bright, engulfing the top of the cliff. The hum became a deafening roar. The ground shook violently. Not just tremors. A full-blown earthquake. Ha! Jenny stumbled, fell to her knees. Miller crashed down beside her. Thorne braced himself against a tree, eyes locked on the fissure. The obsidian cliff face, it rippled. Like water. Like living stone. The fissure widened, tearing open with sound like a mountain screaming. And from within the blinding green light, something began to emerge. Not just the heat ghost. Something vast. Something ancient. Something that had slept in the cold stone for a very, very long time. Oh, the long dark wasn't coming. It was here, and it was waking up. Ha! And Timmy? The boy turned slowly toward them, away from the unfolding cataclysm behind him. His face was blank, empty, a vessel discarded. But as the first tendrils of the emerging entity, thick as tree trunks and glow with that sickly green energy, snaked down the cliff towards the pulsing artifacts in the open case, a single, perfect, crystalline tear traced a path down Timmy Henderson's cheek. Then his body went rigid, his mouth open impossibly wide, not to scream, to vomit a torrent of pure, searing, emerald green light directly at Jenny, Miller, and Thorne. Ha! The last puppet string, pulled by the waking god in the stone. The light hit. Oh! The world dissolved into agony and green in the triumphant, grinding roar of an alien dawn.